Yeah, yes. Wow. Just jumped right in there, didn't I? Good morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. Just jumped in there without my little intro. Moving too fast this morning. How are you today? Tuesday, summertime. I bet it's hot where you are. They're saying all over the country is hot. I guess unseasonably hot for a lot of people. Let me just check my phone real quick and then we will get started. I want to talk to you a little bit. I won't be before you very long. I just want to talk a little bit about. Good morning. Yeah, thank you for coming to Coffee Conversations with Greg J. We strive to present topics of cultural relevance, uh, you know, discussed in a casual manner. After all, we're having a cup of coffee, you know, contemplating the things that are around us, the things that affect us. Today, I want to kind of get into, global economics. I'm not an economist at any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's important to wrap our brains around this topic because, as you know, the country is changing, the world is changing, a lot of things are happening. Look at the government here in the United States. They're seemingly on the verge of being at war with one another, right? The January 6th Senate hearings. Wow, I really want to hear what Steve Bannon has to say. That's ooh, yikes. It's making for a good movie, almost movie plot, but it's very serious. Is our democracy going to survive it? I have no doubt that democracy will prevail, but I think that in the last couple of years we've had kind of a national reckoning with regard to social justice, with regard to financial well-being, with regard to living life. What are the freedoms, right, in America? What does it really mean to be free? I think when they overturned Roe versus Wade, that's was a profound move by the Supreme Court to me because one has to ask ourselves, are we really free? Um, it's an interesting topic, an interesting notion. Then we begin to see what the government of the United States, are we really moving about doing good? I was watching the news this morning, network news, as I always do, getting in my news flow, and I see that. Of course, the war in Ukraine is always top and center of the headlines these days, and they're shining the spotlight on veterans who have gone over there to fight in Ukraine. Basically, mercenaries, where mercenaries used to be kind of a taboo thing, something that the United States didn't do, although we did know that they were engaging in mercenary warfare. It's a big industry, right? But the thing of it is, we didn't talk about it in the main. And here they are celebrating these guys. I mean, I get it. Okay, you want to still fight. You've retired from the Marine Corps. If you're retired from the Army or whatever, and you still have the warrior ethos, and so you enlist yourself to go over to Ukraine to fight against Russia. Um, I'm feeling some kind of way about that. You know, but at the same time, one has to ask themselves, what is the global position? What is happening in the world? All of this stuff has caused us in our community to even consider, a lot of us, not everybody, but a lot of us is like, okay, should I move out of the country? Should I leave out this piece? I've considered it. I think, maybe we move to Africa. I mean, remember, uh, uh, 2019 in the nation of Ghana was the year of return. They made a policy where you can be on track to get dual citizenship. They wanted the children to come home. You remember Dr. Arikana Chimbori Kwao, you know, um, Africa is calling her children home. the president of Ghana, and other West African nations reaching out to the diaspora, reaching out to African Americans to come over, come home, you know. And when you go over there, as you know, we've traveled extensively in Southern Africa and West Africa, you hear them say, welcome home, right? But as we seriously consider what it would be like to move out of the country, what it would be like to repatriate, expatriate to the continent of Africa, we begin to, you know, peel back the layers. What is the economy really like? I mean, we can go over there and enjoy tourism and see all of the landmarks and do all of these things, right? But what is it like to really live there, to be a part of society as a foreigner? Because, you know, let's face it, we still would be foreigners, right? What is it like? This is what I've got my eye on, and I'm going to share a few things with you. Today, I wanted to talk about the economy. In 2018, or in 2019, the Ghana government proclaimed the year of return. African Americans, wealthy African Americans, you know, we have a lot of them. African Americans flocked over to Ghana to partake in all of the festivals and the ceremonies and the, you know, and the hoopla surrounding coming home to Ghana. It's a big deal. Money is flooding into, Black money is flooding into Ghana in the form of tourism. And, you know, maybe a remnant of that results in business and commerce with the continent. Certainly, we begin to think about it. The next year, the Ghanaian cedi, that's their money, is proclaimed the best performing currency against the United States dollar. It's strong. Now, 2022, their money has been downgraded to junk currency. I went online to find out what does that mean, junk currency. I mean, it's like, I'm not an economist, but a very renowned economist out of Johns Hopkins University made a statement in the last couple of days saying that, you know, Ghana's economy was about to tank. He was in his predictions and work, he was downgrading the cedi to junk status along with other ones. It means that the currency is almost worthless against the US dollar. This morning it was 12. One Ghanaian cedi is equal to 12 cents. So when we go over there, our money goes a long way, supposedly. Want to see some African money before I go on and get into this discussion? Hold on. I love African money. You know what? Simply because it's, you know, it's a trip to see the Black folks on the, you know, on the money. Okay. Got plenty of African currency here. You know, got a little stack. Love it. Okay, these are, okay, I'm in my wrong stack here, but I'll tell you a little bit more of that. That's a 100 Rand. Can you see that? 100 Rand. Nelson Mandela is on the cover. That's 100 Rand South African money. Isn't that cool? Nelson Mandela's on the bill. Yeah. A Ghanaian cedi. Okay, what is that? Oh, this is a Zambian kwacha. That's a Zambian kwacha. Yeah. Right? Can you see that? Mm-hmm. They got animals and stuff on their money. Yeah. That's from Zambia. But the cedi, here we go. Here's a 50 cedi bill. 50 cedis. So that's a strong bill in Ghanaian economy right there. See all the brothers and sisters on the front. The brothers Kwame and Nkrumah, all the guys. Yeah. The liberation. So Stephen Hanke, Dr. Stephen Hanke, renowned economist out of Johns Hopkins University, very well respected in this space, has called for recommended that the Ghanaian central bank dissolve itself, and they began to put a currency board together in order to govern the movement of the currency and therefore get control of the exchange rates. So they say. Now, I've invited a couple of economists to come in and speak with us today, but they may pop in and may not. But this is a subject matter that we're going to continue to discuss for quite some time, just as we begin to look at what repatriation or expatriation, going home to Ghana, to West Africa, what does that mean to us? So I did a little digging, right? And I see that not only is Ghana considered a junk bond, Venezuela, Iraq, Iran, I think Lebanon is in there. The common denominator for these countries that I'm naming is that they are all, on the bad boy list of the United States of America. So this is how they fight the battles. They reduce the power of the currency of that nation against the global money market. That reduces their ability to participate in the global marketplace, borrowing, stocks, all that kind of stuff. For Ghana, I asked the question, how could their currency be such a junk bond if they are one of the leading exporters of gold, bauxite? I mean, there's so many more, minerals and natural resources that come out of Ghana. Ghana in colonial times was called the Gold Coast. Gold. So if they're that strong of an exporter of gold, why is their economy so weak? Is it really? People will say, corruption. Okay, that's where we go when we talk about leaders. But is it really? Maybe tax revenue, I guess, I'm thinking out loud with you, just contemplating with you, maybe tax revenue. When we were in Ghana, we saw a very vibrant street commerce. It's kind of interesting because you see these, what we would term as shacks, but pop-ups all along the street, just like we have homeless encampments, they have shops. Not only brick and mortar, but tents and stands and just all along the streets in the city, on the freeways. It's just a thing. So is that taxable revenue that those shopkeepers have? I think it's a free market on the street vendors. It's just a gang of street vendors. But, does the government tax them, or the cities or the municipalities, in order to generate revenue for the greater good? I don't think they do. What about the fisher people, And maybe that's not the African way. I'm just speaking out loud as we begin to analyze why in the global market, the Ghanaian CEDI, is so weak. That astounds me. Maybe 2019, year of return, all of that black wealth coming through there, the powers that be don't want us to come together and galvanize. That's a proven fact. We and still we rise, right? But I'm just saying, just think about it, all those professional athletes, actors, artists, wealthy people. I'm going to Ghana to see, pouring resources into Ghana. getting a mindset of doing business and commerce, thereby connecting a total global Black economy. This is not to exclude anybody. So this is not exclusion talk. This is just talking about how the diaspora can unite together and thereby be a stronger participant on the global scale, on the global stage. We have wealth. We have a strong consumer base of Black Americans here, over $1 trillion in the consumer market of African Americans. Think about that. Think about how Black business can link up with brothers and sisters in Africa. Europeans do it. I mean, it's just, come on, think about it. It is a way to strengthen the economic power of the diaspora. And we truly would be coming home with our dollars. I hope to revisit this, soon, with an economist that can just break it on down, the science of it. Because I believe we need to do what we can to strengthen our brothers and sisters in Africa, on the continent, and they in turn can strengthen us here in America. I was talking to a brother from Ethiopia the other day, and we're going to get into this story too. And he was saying to me how since the days of Richard Nixon and Secretary of State in those days, remember, was Henry Kissinger, the German guy. He had a heavy German accent. He was a Secretary of State. And he was saying that in their country, or in that region of Africa, he was talking about how, the West was involved in destabilizing regions of that area, starting with Sudan. Remember back in the day, they had the Sudan Civil War, is all in the news and everything. Somalia, remember, that had its season in the front line of the news. And now Ethiopia, which we're really not talking about, but Ethiopia has never been colonized by European powers. And there is an underlying resentment towards that fact that goes back to Emperor Haile Selassie and everything. So when they overthrew him, the military government of Ethiopia was kind of in cahoots with the United States. And there's this whole generational backstory of history where the West has tried to, destabilize Ethiopia, the only African nation that has not been colonized by European powers, right? And there is a conflict going on right now whereby the West and the United Nations are exerting their influences. And he was sharing that while they have these nations in conflict, they can thereby still control the rich natural resources that are in that region for the use in the West. And I think that, it's the whole history, right? The whole history since the scramble for Africa in the 1800s. It's important to us in America because we're at a point where it's national reckoning and we're nation building. We're re-examining who we are as a people. We're re-examining and finding out about our history and our definite connection to the continent. We are American descendants of slaves, and the slaves generations, yes, here in America, we got cousins down south and all that, right? But there is a direct connection to Mother Africa, and generally speaking, Western Africa, Ghana, Benin, Togo, Cameroon, Liberia, somebody in our bloodline made it from that area. And they would have you believe that they were taking naked savages out of the jungles, and putting them as slaves on these ships and bringing them to the New World, the Americas and the Caribbean. But we reject that notion. We know that there were, kings and queens and, artisans and cities and libraries, all in that region, society. So they went in, they raided those places, or they were sold, you know, humanity from the kings or whatever. However, this trade occurred, somebody in your bloodline came through those dungeons that are on the west coast of Africa and all the way here to the Americas and led up to you. Somebody. The slave trade, right? We learned something over there. Just a side note: the silent trade. The ships would come and they would put tobacco and alcohol on the beach, and the kings and the different tribes and the cities, the people would leave gold on the. That's how abundant gold is in Western Africa, in Ghana. Would leave it on the beach. They would never speak to each other. You know, this is the exchange. We've got a long history. We've got a lot to overcome. Yeah. Rest in peace to my sister Tanya Kersey, not my blood sister, but she's a good woman here in Los Angeles. Had the Black Hollywood Film Festival, Black Talent News magazine, a very steady and present force in promoting unity, education, and uplift of African Americans in the movie industry. Just a dynamic woman, and found out she passed away yesterday. So we extend condolences to her family, the community, the people. Just know she's a good sister. Another and has gone on to be an ancestor now. Tanya Kersey, rest in peace, my sister. Been talking about African money, talking a lot about art, you know. Show you some African art. This is from South Africa. It's called a colonial. And so I guess during the colonial days, these are what some of the people dressed as they were working in restaurants and all of that, you know, or whatever type of duty they had in the community. Or maybe it's a police officer. Here's another piece of art. Oh, I love this one. This is a Nanji doll. So this doll here, let's see, I feel like it might be a little too much light. This doll here is from Cameroon, and the whole essence of it, you can see the beautiful wooden beads here, the beaded work here, all from head to toe. You can see the detail of the eye, face of this beautiful person here, the earrings, you know, stands up on a stand like that. And what this is supposed to do, when you take this into your home, you face this one towards the door, and it wards off bad vibrations, is what they say. Namji doll. That's from Cameroon. Yeah. I literally like that piece there. It's tall. It's very tall. And very, let me just put it down here. Oh, let me just put it down here. It's very tall and very beautiful, very stately is that piece of art. I got another one around here somewhere. Ah, this is my guy. He's a warrior, also a Namji doll. See the beads, see the shells. It's a very interesting piece right there. Yeah. This is all African art, authentic, imported from the continent, from a variety of regions. Authentic African art. All right, talked about the money. Want to see some more? Somebody said they want to see some more. Hold on a minute. I'll show you. So we talked about the cedi, the Ghanaian cedi, CEDI. We mentioned, okay, so there it is. There's a $10, a 10 cedi bill here. You see, yeah. So according to these economists, he's almost worth nothing. So 10 cedi would be $1.20. This is South African rand. This has got Nelson Mandela's image on it. That's $100 rand bill. Can you see it? There we go. Yeah, 100 rand bill. The 18th. Is today the 18th? It's Nelson Mandela's birthday. Happy birthday, sir. This is a 1 cedi. So that's worth 12 cents. It's a Ghanaian cedi. 12 cents. Let me see what else I got over here. I got a lot of cedis. I brought back a lot last time I was there. Hey, you want to go to Ghana with us? Let's get a trip together. Holla at me. Inbox me on Facebook. I'll put my email in the chat if you want to go. I'll tell you. I'm trying to get a group together to go. So when y'all go to Dubai, this is the money you're going to have. That's a dirham. Dirham. That's a good, from Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Dirham. I bet you that's worth some money. Yeah. All right, y'all, man. Listen, love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for, helping me share information. What I'd like for you to do, help me build the audience. Share, like this. If you're looking at it on YouTube, please like and subscribe. The playlist, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. We've got a lot of content getting ready to bust out of here at Dream Creator Studio. So we've been working hard, and we really would love your support to help us grow. We'd love to be a trusted source of valued information relevant to our culture. Thank you so much. I love you. I guess you can see this on Coffee Conversations with Greg J on our Facebook page. Beach City Perspective, that is our news platform that is emerging. And then over on YouTube, yes, okay, catch it on YouTube, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. And then we also repurpose the audio to make a podcast, and you can get that wherever your favorite podcasts reside, Spreaker, Google, iHeart, wherever. Thank you so much. Love one another. Peace and blessings.